Time now for The Real Estate Connection with Stephen Theard, a realtor and certified probate and real estate specialist. Whether you're a first-time homebuyer or a seasoned investor looking to downsize, move up, or refinance, this program is for you.
A house in the middle of our street. Something tells you that you've got to in the middle of our...
From probate sales to landscape design to home repairs and maintenance, this is your weekly look into all things real estate. Now your host for The Real Estate Connection, Stephen Theard.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you joining me today. Welcome to another episode of The Real Estate Connection, sponsored by Good Patriot Realty. A salute to home ownership. If you're new to the show, thank you for joining me today. If you don't want to miss another podcast, you can send me an email at info@realestateconnectionradio.com. Again, info@realestateconnectionradio.com with your name and your email address, and I'd be happy to add you to the podcast distribution list. Otherwise, you can go to podbean.com and look for The Real Estate Connection, or you can go to Apple Podcasts and look for The Real Estate Connection. You'll find me there and just subscribe there. If you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, smash that thing. It helps with distribution, and subscribe so that you can get notified when I come online. And if you're watching on, come on, what's that? Meta? No. Oh, Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the like button and maybe start a watch party for me. That'd be great. But welcome to the show. Today's topic is, happy St. Patrick's Day. It is March 17th. 2022 as we record this episode of The Real Estate Connection. So happy St. Patty's Day to all my Irishmen out there and Irish women and all those who are Irish for a day. But the topic of today's show is death and real estate. Death and real estate. Okay, I know this may seem morbid, but there is something called the circle of life. We all have a birthday. It happens once, and we have a death day, and it happens once, and we get to live life in between. So we plan for our weddings, we plan for vacations, we plan for retirement, we plan for children and buying homes and moving up and down and vacation, all that stuff. So why not plan for our death day as well? This is not meant to be morbid, but it is a part of life. And as a responsible adult, adulting is what we do. As a responsible adult, this is something that you're going to want to plan for. As an adult myself, I'm living this right now with my father, and it's not pretty. It's not a good thing. If you are, you have real estate, and you're thinking about planning for the future, and you want to not put your kids through a lot of stuff as far as dealing with your estate and things of this nature, this show's for you, and you're going to want to pay attention. And if you may be a potential heir dealing with a loved one who may or may not have all of their dots or all of their I's dotted or T's crossed, you're going to want to pay attention to this show as well. So again, welcome and thanks for joining me. All right, let's jump right on in. Again, this is hosted by Good Patriot Realty, a salute to home ownership, California DRE number 017000019, not hosted, sponsored. California DRE number 017000019. All right, so the saying goes that there's only two things you can count on in life, and that's death and taxes, but I would also say change. Three things. You can count on change, you can count on taxes, and you can count on death. And so we're going to talk about the death part. If you hold real estate in the United States of America, and you are not planning for the transfer of that asset at your passing, then you are going to be putting your loved ones through the ringer. When you die without a will or a living trust in the United States of America, it's called dying intestate. And there's all sorts of ramifications that can happen when that happens. Whether you're married, whether you're divorced, whether you have children, whether you don't have children, whether somebody you know, or your spouse is actually with child, or a girlfriend who's with child, and you pass away, there are ramifications. If you have living parents, siblings, there's just so many different ways that it can go. However, the big picture is, if you die intestate and you have real estate that you own, that means you are passing away without a will or a trust in place that is giving clear instructions how your assets are to be distributed to those that you love and care about, which means the state gets involved. And it doesn't matter if it's California, Texas, New York, uh, Florida, Arizona, Maryland. It doesn't matter. Each state has what they call laws of succession, which means if you do not have specific instructions written out, either through a will or a living trust, then the succession laws in the state apply. And you would be surprised at what those laws actually say. And so you may think that, hey, if I pass away without a will or a trust, no big deal. My wife and my kids are going to get everything. Well, that's true to a certain extent, but not in the distribution that you may want. So, for example, if you are married in the state of California, and say you have your property is community property and not joint tenants, there's different ways to own property. Community property laws will give a different percentage of home ownership to your spouse and children than if you're in joint tenants. And so you have to be careful about how you own your property if you're planning for the future. Then there's things like bank accounts and other assets that you may own in cash. So, for instance, if you die in testate without a will in California, and I'm going back to my memory, so you'll have to check me if I'm wrong, and your wife is surviving you along with your two children, then the wife will get a third, and the kids will get a third and a third, right? It may not be 100% to your spouse immediately. It'll get distributed out to the children as well. If you want that to all go to your spouse and then have them have control over how much goes to the children, whether they're minors or adults, then you need to have these things written down. Okay, so when you die intestate, meaning you don't have a will and you do not have a trust in place, and you're in the state of California, your estate goes to what is called probate. And probate is a very legal thing. And also, I just wanted to say something. Death is very legal. While you're alive, you're bound to contracts, power of attorneys, all kinds of things are active only while you're alive. As soon as you die or pass away, then different laws kick in instantaneously. It's the same as whether you're married or not. There's no I'm partially married or partially single. You're either single 100% or married 100% by law, right? As soon as the officiant says, I now pronounce you man and wife, you're legally married. And all those laws that apply for married couples kick in instantaneously. The moment before that happens, you're subject to a whole different set of laws. But as soon as someone dies, there are laws that kick in immediately. So if you had a power of attorney over somebody and they pass away in the state that you're living in, that power of attorney can become null and void immediately upon the passing of that person. And then you have laws of succession and probate laws that kick in. So if you're in the state of California, what happens? So let me back up. All right, hold on. Let me give the bicycle horn. All right, we're backing up. Okay, so I'm going to give you a quick definition of probate. So what is probate? Probate is a legal proceeding that is used to wind up or wind down a person's legal and financial affairs after death. So for California, probate proceedings are conducted in the Superior Court for the county in which the decedent lived and can take at least 8 months and sometimes as long as several years, depending on how big the estate is. So, for instance, if you've had a very successful life, or you have very successful parents, and they own a business, and it may be either a sole proprietorship that owns a building and other inventory, or maybe it's in an LLC, a limited liability corporation, or a partnership, or even a corporation, and maybe it owns multiple buildings, and then your parents own multiple investment properties and maybe some apartment buildings. That can get very tenuous as far as how long it takes to wind down or wind up and distribute the assets from an estate. And I will tell you, during the pandemic, this took even longer. The court system was shut down. People were working remotely. There wasn't a full amount of people in the courtrooms. Judges weren't coming into their courts for procedures. And if you were caught in a probate in California during has it been 2 years already? During 2020 or 2021, none of the probates were moving. So assets were just sitting. They were sitting. They couldn't be touched. They couldn't be sold. They couldn't be distributed. And maybe you might have needed the money or were counting on some of that money, and you couldn't get your hands on it because the state was involved or the county was involved in distributing the assets. And that's what a probate is. It's when the court system gets involved to distribute assets. So the court will nominate somebody to be the representative of the estate, and that's another court proceeding. And then that representative then has to pass through the probate court system all the decisions that are made. If it has to do with real estate, which we're talking about, then you have to get permission from the court, oftentimes, to sell it. And then the court has to approve the sales contract. And then after the asset or the real estate is sold, then the money goes back into the probate account. And then after all the other assets are taken care of, all the bills have been paid, and everything's been wound up, then the court gives a final distribution order, and then all of the stuff can be distributed. So this also is not free, right? You're going to have to hire an attorney. You're going to have to file documents through the court. So this costs the estate money. That estate money could be passed along to heirs or could be used for other purposes. But when you wind up in a probate, because you haven't planned for the future, it's a giant waste of time and a giant waste of money. So my advice to everyone on how to avoid probate, especially in California, so that your wishes for how you want your estate or assets to be distributed to your heirs is to have a will and a living trust. I'm going to repeat that again. Have a will and a living trust in the state of California to avoid probate. This way, you have given somebody that you choose the job and duties to distribute the assets according to your wishes. And you avoid the court system. Whether it's real estate to be sold or who's going to get the classic car, your jewelry, all of that stuff can be codified in a document called a living trust. You can put your house into the living trust as well and still be able to control it being purchased or sold. But that way, if something happens unexpectedly to you or you know it's coming, you do not have to worry about the estate being dwindled down by attorneys and the probate court process in order for your assets to be transferred. So if you're looking at any of this right now in your life and you need any advice about your specific situation, feel free to give me a call, Stephen Theard, your host of the Real Estate Connection and sponsor of Good Patriot Realty, a salute to ownership, at 408-472-0817. Again, 408-472-0817. And I'd be happy to help you out in this regard. I have a lot more detail that I could walk through in regards to the probate process I will tell you that the disadvantages of probate is that the cost is usually much higher than would be required for administration of a living trust for an estate valued at the same amount. It usually takes longer to probate an estate than to administer a trust, and most estates don't need the supervision of a course unless disputes occur. So avoiding probate, you may be able to avoid probate for estates valued at less than $150,000. So in the state of California, if your estate is less than $150,000, then you can avoid probate. But if you own real estate in the state of California, by default, you are going to go to probate because most real estate assets in this state are well valued, well over $150,000. If there's a surviving spouse and there is no will, or the will gives the estate to the surviving spouse, a spousal property petition might be used to avoid probate. So if a spouse is involved and you're looking to avoid probate, give me a call. We can talk about that spousal property petition. And then you also definitely will want to get a lawyer, a real estate attorney, or actually a probate attorney involved in that process as well. Also, avoiding probate, absolutely. A living trust avoids the whole kit and caboodle. Don't have to worry about it at all. I'm telling you, when you have to sell real estate through probate, it's a pain in the neck. It takes a lot longer. You'd be surprised when people pass away, different types of behaviors show up in your friends and family that you've never seen before. And a living trust will help take care of these issues right away. I am living through it right now. Recently, my stepmother passed away, and my father's having to deal with all kinds of stuff, and he's not doing very well. He's ill, and so me and my sister are having to go through dealing with assets and trying to get things taken care of, and it's heavy on the heart when you're already thinking about maybe losing a parent, and then having the added burden of dealing with all of the legal and financial issues that come along when you're taking care of a parent who's not doing well, who may be passing away. And so as a loving gesture for your family, I implore you to definitely do what's right, put a will and a living trust in place so that when your loved ones are dealing with the emotional strain of losing someone, that this is not an additional burden to be put on them. So again, if you have any questions regarding probate, living trusts, wills, and how it relates to real estate, please feel free to reach out. 408-472-0817. Again, 408-472-0817. Stephen Theard with Good Patriot Realty, California DRE number 017000019, and I'd be happy to talk to you about your specific fact pattern. And it may just be time to sit down with whoever is avoiding dealing with this and have a really loving come to Jesus meeting with them and just say, hey, we know you want your wishes to be fulfilled. This is the way to do it that makes it easier on everyone. So with that, that's it for today's show. I know it's kind of a heavy topic on St. Patrick's Day, but we'll loosen it up as we go out. Happy St. Patty's Day to all those who are Irish and who are Irish for a day. Enjoy yourselves. Be careful out there, but have a good time. And St. Patrick was a great person, I believe. I don't know the details around him, but I believe he was a strong man of God, spreading the gospel. And so he's memorialized, and people celebrate probably a little bit too much. So don't go over the line today. But I'm going to leave you with this before we leave. Joshua 1:9, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid and do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. God bless you. God bless the United States of America. God bless you and your family. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And we'll see you next week, hopefully. Actually, not next week. I'll be traveling, dealing with family issues. But God bless you. And we'll see you on the next episode on The Real Estate Connection. Take care.
This has been The Real Estate Connection with Realtor and Certified Probate and Real Estate Specialist Stephen Theard. Licensed Cal DRE number 017000019. For more information on this program, visit realestateconnectionradio.com. To contact Stephen directly, call 408-472-0817 or email info@realestateconnectionradio.com. And be sure to tune in next week at this time for The Real Estate Connection.